Okay, so let's go ahead and crop our still life photos. So what I'd like you to do is to first convert your image to a JPEG if it's not already in a JPEG form. Many of you have already preset this. So if yours is high efficiency, you want to go ahead and go to this converter. If not, go ahead and open up the link on this handout. This handout is printed out for directions, but you can also split screen it so that you can do it step by step. So I've already opened it up, but you can click on that and it will pop up for you. And so from this page, what I'd like you to do is to open from computer. Now yours will open from your drive when you click this. So I'm gonna go ahead and find my photos. So my photo that I've pre-selected is 3851. That's the one I want to do. And so I can either, like I said, split screen this, or I can go kind of back and forth from the directions. And so I've opened it up, right? And then situational. If you forgot to take your picture in color, you can, or in black and white, you can switch it from color. So if you go to image adjustments and you can go to black and white, you can change this into a black and white photo. Okay, so that is there for you if you need it. Another situational is that if you do not have a range of value, you can adjust this. I think that actually is something I can adjust myself. When I look at my skull, there's not a lot of shadow on it. So I'm going to go image adjustment, and I'm going to go to levels. And I can move this out of my way so I can see my work. And so if I move the highlight over, it's going to give me more highlight. I don't think I need that. If I move the gray over, it's going to give me more grays as I kind of pull it towards the white. And you can see that it's becoming a little bit more dimensional. Reset it so you can see that. And then if I move the black over, it's going to give me more shadows. And so that's actually what I'm thinking I would like, is maybe a little bit more shadows and a little bit more definition on that skull, so it looks a little bit more three-dimensional. So I want to have a range from white, light, all the way to blacks or to darks. So if I like that, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. For some of you, you won't have to adjust this at all, and I can totally help you figure out if this needs to be done. So I'm going to say OK. Then from the next direction, okay, all of you are going to want to crop your image. So here it has the directions for cropping. There are 3 different ways you can crop using photepea. It's very much like Photoshop. You can either do free, which you can change it to any shape you want, but I'm going to give you an 11 by 14 sheet of paper. And so you could either do that in fixed size or fixed ratio. I'm going to use fixed ratio because I'm not going to print my photo to 11 by 14. I just want it into the proportion of it. That way we can directly draw and it will all be proportional. So I'm going to go ahead, and over here is the crop feature. Okay, and so I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to go to fixed ratio. And so here I'm going to type in either 11 by 14 or 14 by 11. So I'm going to try 11 there and 14 there and hit enter. And that is the shape of the paper. Okay, if I switch this around, I can do 14 by 11. This is going to make it a horizontal. Okay, you can choose either of these 2 orientations as long as you still have foreground, middle ground, and background to create a sense of space. So I'm going to try this as a vertical, I think. So I'm going to switch this back. And then once it's at this point, you can drag corners. You can move it around. So if I click and hold, I can move this around. And what I'm trying to do is create a balanced sense of composition. I don't want to put the skull in the center because that's my focal point. I want to shift it out of the center. Maybe I want to use the rule of thirds so that I shift it out of the center. I can hit enter. And if I like it, I can keep it that way. If I don't like it, I can always go to undo, right? And I can, it's already preset again. I can just drag the corners again. And then I can move it around until I'm happy. Okay, I don't like that because the pumpkin is too centered. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust and play until I'm happy. Okay, this skull I can put in both of these quadrants too. Remember the 9 grid zone, it can be on 2 of these as well. Kind of like, let's see. Nope, don't want that either. Let's see here. I kind of like the top of the pumpkin. Here we go. I think I like that. So when I like that, I'm going to leave the cropping like that. Now I'm going to go through here and see if there's anything else that I need to do. If your picture is too big, let's say you're going to go and crop this and you can't see all of it on the screen. There's a way of changing and zooming out so that you can see the whole thing. Sometimes that happens with your cameras if you have it set. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to select your image and you have to resample it. So we're going to put it at a DPI of 300. So I'm going to go ahead and go to image size, and it's already preset for 300, which is great. I'm going to unclick the resample and I'm going to say, okay. Now you can see that the image is a little bit smaller. So it's changed that for me. If I do 11 by 14, it's going to be fine, but see how it's no longer 300. It doesn't matter. We're going to print this out smaller than we need to anyway, but this ratio is exactly the same as 11 by 14, the size of our paper. So I'm going to say, okay. And then from there, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go to the list again and just make sure there's nothing else I have to do. And so here is basically me saving my image. So the saving process is a little bit different. Instead, we're going to export it as a JPEG. So I'm going to go ahead and file, export as JPEG. And so let's go ahead, and this is just a portion of the image. So I hope you can see, you can move this here. Because we're just printing this image and we're not doing anything else, let's take the quality all the way to 100. We want to make sure it's as good as possible. I'm going to go ahead and say save, and it downloaded my image. So you're going to go ahead and get that saved to your computer. And when I open it, what I'm probably going to want to do is save it to a different name. So I'm going to go ahead and change the name. I think I have to change my name in the file name, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to change that name so that I know that this is my cropped photo. And then eventually what I can do is I can print this in color. So I know that seems a little strange, but I'm going to go ahead and take it and print it to the color printer. And actually I can do that here. Why don't I go ahead and file, print. I'm going to send it to the paper cut follow me. And instead of printing it into black and white, oh, it's wanting me to print for the web. That's interesting. I normally print from the file. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to print and send it to the printer in color. The color range of black and white to gray is much better than it is if I do it in just purely black and white. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and put it into my process portfolio and save it there so that I can have it as a reference when I'm comparing my photos.